Okay, I think you cannot when you're recording, I can't minimize. Oh my. That's not good. I will find a workaround. But this is the Mount Baker Amateur Radio Club's digital group meeting, and we have about 8 people. It's a wintry December evening, and we're going to talk digital stuff. So welcome, everybody. So we got a few things on the list here that we want to cover. Did anybody bring anything they want to share? Anything that you want to get on the list before we get going? And I'll turn some of the sound down in the shack. Anybody got anything for us? Mark, how about what's new with the with our treasury stuff? You want to just start there, get that out of the way first?
Sure. I didn't balance the checkbook, but we have money pending in the PayPal account because we now have PayPal applications and processing straight from, you can download it, the application form, and attach it as an email and send that to the treasurer at Mount Baker Amateur Radio Club, MBARC.org, and it will get to me. And then it gives me an alert also that we have a payment in PayPal, and I can process all that stuff, and it's fine and dandy and hunky-dory.
Well, that's good.
And you have choices. You can either take it for just the main group, the digital group, either or on those individually, or you can do a button for both.
Cool. We've been looking forward to that being an option for a long time. Good work, guys. So with all this winter weather coming down here, Andy, are you with us? I've heard rumors that people are talking about maybe doing winter field day.
Yeah. Oh, I've got an issue. Skip me for a second and come back for a second.
Okay, that'll be fine. So that's okay. So we got all excited because Mouser apparently was going to sell Raspberry Pis. And I don't know how long that lasted. What do we know? Did anybody actually get an order in? I know Don tried to get one in, and he thought he did, and then he was told he wasn't going to see it until August.
Yeah, what I can tell you, Bud, is that I did get it in the very first day that they had them available. And then a day later, I received a message from a confirmation that they got the order. A day later, I got a confirmation that they would be shipping on Wednesday, I think it was, of last week. And then the day after that, I got a notice that the delivery was going to slide to August 15th of 2023.
Oh, wow.
So then after that, I sent him an email and said, I just going to cancel the order. And I didn't hear anything back from him. So nothing for a few days. And so then I called them today and I talked to customer service, and they said, well, we didn't see the cancellation, but I said, well, I cancel the order and just refund my money if you would. And I said, can you tell me what happened? I said, 8 months, from December to August. And the gal that I talked with, she had no clue. I had no idea what happened, any details. So there you go.
So on some of the forums, a handful, very small number of folks who managed to get in, I don't know if they were monitoring Mouser's website or what, but as soon as Mouser posted that, hey, we're getting around 2,000 Raspberry Pi 4s on Monday, which would have been a week ago Monday, I think. Or was it last Monday? Anyway, some Monday. The news spread like wildfire. So I'm sure that, they got thousands of orders immediately because people wanted to get the Pis at the regular price rather than the triple the price, which is what you can get them for on Amazon and other sources. And later in the week, a very small number of folks said, hey, I managed to get one. And other folks reported what Don just did. When my order went in, they said they were shipping, and then I got another email that said it's been delayed till July or August or September or whenever it was. So I think they sold out immediately, or possibly they didn't get the number that they expected to get on Monday. That's also very likely because these supply chain problems have been just a nightmare.
So at this juncture, I may have a source for an old one, an old Raspberry Pi, local here, but I'm on the hunt. Probably along with everybody else. And as you know, Bud, I'm trying to, I'd like to build up one of your kits. And so I would really like to get my hands on compatible Raspberry Pi.
If you just need one, Don, and you're just hard pressed, I've got 3. If you're looking for one, it's fine.
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe we can find people that can loan you one until the one you ordered gets in.
Well, I canceled it. I'm not going to wait until August, but I canceled that. But yeah, I guess, and the key thing is it's got to be compatible with your kit. And what is that, Bud? It's the 3B, B plus, I guess. I'm not sure.
They're all compatible, even the 4. We moved one of the connectors off the bottom and up on the top because the Ethernet connector on the Raspberry Pi 4 is taller than it is on the 3s. But and what about the heat situation, Steve? I do have some little heat sinks that we can glue to the top of the CPU, but is there really going to be a heat issue with the Raspberry Pi 4, or are we going to be good to go?
I don't think so. I put heat sinks on all of mine, but if you're not running like an external USB drive, I haven't found that the heat buildup is too much of a problem. It's really not a problem. It's definitely not a problem on the 3B or the 3B plus.
Don?
So I wanted to say though, Don, if you have a line on an older Raspberry Pi, make sure it's not a 2, because a 2 is not going to work. So you want either a 3B, a 3B plus, or a 4B are the ones you want.
Got it.
Before you move on, Don, I've got a 3B right here. It's my 3rd one. It sits in a box in case something goes down. I'll take the Raspberry Pi 3B plus out of this. You can borrow it until you get yours.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah. Okay. I'm kind of what I'm really hoping for, and quite honestly, I don't know what the availability of they are anymore, along with, I don't think anybody else does, but everything I'm finding, I mean, you can get a 3B plus for, what is it, $144 or something?
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah.
So,
But that's what I was trying to do.
If you want this one, Don, just let me know. I'll disassemble it, send it to you, or get it to you. And when you get your others or the new one you want, just switch it out again.
Yeah, thank you very much.
I don't care.
Appreciate the offer.
Yeah, I've done that already. There was a new ham that was building up a kit. And he moved here to Birch Bay. Since then, he's moved into Bellingham. And I said, here, take this Raspberry Pi and build it up, and we'll get it running. And when you get yours, you give it back to me. And I got it back. And, you know, they're around. They're sitting around on shelves and in closets and shoe boxes. And we just got to scrounge them out.
Yeah, well, that's great. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate that, Dave.
Yeah.
And Andy as well.
But I believe that I heard that Mouser will also have the 3Bs and the 3s available in the future as well. So I remember, I think it was $44 or something was what they were asking for the 4, but I think it's still $35 for a 3B plus. And I like ordering from Mouser, but I try to put a decent order together when I get most of my parts now from Mouser. but the problem is the shipping costs. And so if you're only purchasing.
Bud, your audio dropped off.
How about this one? Any luck?
Yeah, that works.
Okay, I just chose a different microphone off the list. I'm running OBS software and I've never run it before. So it may have done something, but keep me posted. So I don't know what I may have lost there. But what I was saying is that I saw that that Mouser is going to offer the 3B Plus, but that the concern I have with Mouser is the cost of shipping stuff from them. And so I try to put together a good order because the shipping price is going to be the same. It doesn't make sense to buy $7 or $8 worth of parts and then pay almost twice that to have it shipped, so.
Yeah, I think I'm going to cancel my order of the Pi 4s that I ordered because the same thing happened to me. Is that, it's now back ordered on the 15th of August of 23. So, sorry, going back to the previous conversation. Sorry about that.
That's all right. Hey, Andy, do you want to say a few words about Winter Field Day? Are you ready to do that? Andy's in and out.
If I push the right button, oh, for goodness sakes.
There's Andy.
This is my mind. So it's, I went and looked at the calendar the other day. Looks like it's January. Oh, what was it? January.
Is it the last weekend in January?
Oh, February. I apologize.
Oh, it's February.
18th and 19th of February. No, that's not right. What am I looking at here? No, hold on. Let me just do this the right way. But anyhow, I talked to Bob the other day. He said he's a go for the Blaine ACS side. There wasn't a lot of interest on the WECG side. I'm going to go ahead and put in for it. I'll get the mission number so the van can go out. At this point, I doubt anybody will bring it. Maybe somebody will. We'll bring that up when the time comes. But we'll get the mission number. They'll go ahead and request it. I put in for the special use permit at the park. We've got a really good thing going on with the Blaine, the city of Blaine right now, the Parks Department. So I don't anticipate any issues there. And then the only thing that Bob and I were talking about is, just how to manage the weather. You can, and that's part of the fun at the same time, right? But how do we manage that weather in a way that's still going to make it semi-enjoyable for the attendees that come out? And so what we talked about was Bob was targeting bringing the Blaine ACS van out because he has HF capabilities already in it. And then if the WCG van comes, so be it. If not, we've got plenty of other HF equipment. I've got the couple towers. I've got the tower trailer. And so what we'll do is we'll set up to some stuff. In my mind at this point, if we get one radio station on the air and one decent antenna, I'm fine with that. Anything past that's a perk. So, and then what I'd like to do is model off of what you guys did for the salmon run. It seems like you had really good success. So I'm going to try to do my part to have the components and parts and pieces, support Bob and the Blaine crew, and just have an opportunity for people to come out and have a good time.
Dates are January 28th and 29th.
There you go. Thank you.
Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, I knew it was Saturday and Sunday, and I got crossed up.
I'd love to go, but unfortunately, I'll probably be in Arizona during that time frame.
Yeah, and I know I will be in Hawaii, so.
Yeah, at high level, at this point, I'd be amazed if 10 people come out. But the 10 people that come out tend to have a really good time. And so if we do it for 10, we do it for 10, right? That's just, that's the way it goes. And we'll just shoot for it. Either way, we'll have some equipment there. We'll have some gear, and the people who choose to can, we can make a go of it. It'll be fun.
Plus, if the weather's really bad, you do have at least one van with
Well, so
a bit of climate control in there.
So
Huh?
we'll have the motorhome. When it comes right down to it, if we get really push comes to shove, we could drag a coax inside the window. We'd be 75 degrees warm. You know, we could have a crock pot full of chili and coffee pot and the radio, and I mean, it'll be plenty comfortable. So
Sounds like a plan. Well, I'm sure there'll be plenty of opportunities to talk about it again before the end of January, but
yeah, I guess the part that's coming at this point is if people do have questions, if they're interested in attending, reach out to Bob or myself, or I'm going to throw you under the bus, Bud. You're a great ambassador for that. So I figure between the three of us, we can kind of stay in contact and be able to field any questions that may pop up. Bob from the Blaine side, if you want to facilitate and help from the MBARC side, and then like I said, I don't anticipate anybody from WCG really being interested, but then from those guys as well. So.
Well, we're all in the same family. We're all cousins anyway.
Everybody's just part of the same.
So many of us are members of so many of the different groups, so it should be.
More the way I look at it is it's more just kind of I just like having it as a Whatcom County available event more than anything.
Yeah. So, hey, I want to welcome Bert from Marysville, who's joined us tonight. That's a new face. Say hello, Bert.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm not exactly sure what you guys talk about, but it looks like you work with like the digital amateur radio stuff, a lot of the cool new stuff. That's what I have what do you call it? I like to learn about that kind of stuff. Most of the guys I hang around here are just the most advanced stuff they get into is maybe DMR. I'm looking into like trying out some more exotic stuff like 9600 packet or other things like that. But I do try to like dabble in some digital TV stuff with DVB-T with our local ATV club, but we're still analog there, so we're very, very, very slowly making the move to digital. But was just kind of curious to see what you guys are up to. I heard you talking about Raspberry Pis. I just found a 3B plus I had in my buried at the bottom of a box the other day. So normally it wouldn't have been a big deal, but I guess now they're so hard to find. It's probably worth a lot of money.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for letting me join. Just kind of hanging out, seeing what you guys are talking about.
Yeah, well, over the years, we've kind of put our heads together and we've developed a board that goes on top of the Raspberry Pi that we call the Nexus DRX.
Oh.
And it runs all the digital modes. It'll run 2 radios at the same time. And we messed around and play around with it. And we've done a bunch of stuff with FLDigi and FSQ and MFSK, and we've done slow scan TV, and there's always something to play around with, and packet through the ISS. So we
Mesh.
Yeah, and we're doing some Arden stuff there too. So
yeah, I have
glad to have you here.
Okay, yeah, I was wondering why your pies were so tall. So, okay, it's some custom board you guys made. Interesting.
Oh, wait till you see the next one. This one's getting taller.
Here they come.
Yeah.
I'll tell you on the count of 3. Hold up 5 of them.
I'm going to see if I can do this and make it come out right when I'm running. Did that come out because I'm running it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So there's another board now we're adding to it. So this is our Nexus board there. Hiding in the back in there is a sound card called a FeePi, and then the Raspberry Pi is at the bottom. So we got 1, 2, 3, now 4th board on top, and this is the one that we're just the last 3-4 months we've been figuring this one out, and it's a standalone solid state Watchdog timer that will detect that something's gone wrong with the Raspberry Pi, and it will pull the plug and power everything down and turn it back on again 10 seconds later. So, and this is for mountaintops and places where we can't just easily, you know, it's not just reach over and tweak it. We gotta drive up where and how much snow. So that's what the current project is.
You ought to give them the address, the email address and the website address for Nexus.
Yeah, it's my call sign, wb7fhc.com, and I have not put anything in about the Watchdog timer online yet. We've been knocking ideas around here on Zoom for quite some time now, and things are starting to come together. In fact, I was gonna kick this over to Mark again. Mark, bless his heart, agreed to proofread my build instructions. We met at the Tesla charging station there at Birch Bay Square. Neither one of us drives a Tesla, but it's a great place to meet. And I handed him a box and a bag of parts and a sheet of instructions, and he told me what needed to be changed. And he, as he said this morning on our digital net, he survived building one, and I said the Watchdog survived him building it. So what, you want to show us your pictures, Mark? Tell us what you know.
Sure. I'm gonna pop this up real quick and start. Oh dear, it's not trying to do it. There's that. There it is. Okay. So this is an end view, kind of up close and personal. And is it going to let me? Oh, there it is. All right. There we go. There's my side view with all the plugs going into it. It just fits real nice. It was very easy to build. There's the other end view. Sorry, it's a little out of focus. I was in a rush. And there's the top view, zoomed in up close and personal. Look at all those test points in there. And it's easy. It takes an hour-ish, depending. I spread all my parts out, and I lined them all out so that they were all set and just right down the line of the order they were going to go in, and I just started putting them in. And then when I went to test it, I found out I hadn't plugged in my IC circuit. It's an easy kit to build.
And the transistors fit in the holes. You just had to spread the legs out. The previous version, those transistor legs are really, the leads are very close to each other. And both Steve and I had issues trying to solder those things. They were so tight.
That was your other transistor?
It's the same transistor. It's the footprint.
Okay, yeah, this footprint was really easy. And to make sure that I didn't get too much height on them, I pulled down firmly and carefully, and they're down nice and snug and spread really wide, nice. I didn't over pull, but I pulled them snug, and then that's when I soldered. So yeah, I kept them from getting too tall.
The previous version, they would go straight in without any bending all the way to the bottom, and then just try to solder the other side and not bridge it or whatever. And there's techniques and there's ways to do it, but Steve and I were discussing it. We both had problems, and we said, why make it hard for people? Let's use a larger footprint and bend the leads, and it'll work. And it does.
It does.
Yeah. You'll see there on the right-hand side, there's a trigger. There's a JST connector there, and I'm going to show some pictures of how we wire that in. And then there's right next to it is an alternate trigger. I do this quite often. Same on the left-hand side, the bottom screw terminal is an alternate VCC in. So you can use either the screw terminal or the barrel connector. And then the screw terminal at the top is the VCC out that's going to power your Raspberry Pi or any other device that you want to monitor and keep running. As long as it's capable of sending us a heartbeat, it'll do that. But that looks good, Mark. You did a nice job.
Hey, Mark, I don't know if it's the lighting or not, but you might want to check your solder joints on R4 and R5 on the south end, bottom.
If you flip it over, okay, they're they're a little bit, that R4 is kind of underfilled, isn't it? But it's solid, it's full.
It's fine.
Okay,
Yeah,
just
Rob,
I soldered from the backside.
it's soldered on the bottom. You're looking at the top.
yeah, I know. Like I said, lighting could be kind of bad
Well,
too, but
It all
No,
depends
it's-
on how much solder flows through. But as long as it's good on the bottom, yeah, you should have given us a shot of the bottom too. If it's good on the bottom, you're good to
not
go.
criticizing, just saying.
No, you got a good eye. That's great. But one of the things that people are going to need to be careful about are there's 3 diodes on there, D1 and D2 that you see. Those are part. So R1, D1, and C1 all work together as the what I call the proof of life timer. And it's all done. There's a switch there, so you can choose between R1 and R10. You can have a short window or a long window. And then on the other side of the board, you'll see R2, C2, and D2, and that's the second timer. And the thing that you're going to want to watch out for is that those diodes you have to get the polarity right on those. And there is a line on underneath the diode on the print circuit board on the graphic that you want to be sure to match that up. And then down in the shadow below the relay is our kickback diode, and it has a line as well. And it's a bigger diode, but the resistors, you don't have to worry about the polarity on those. Mark did a really nice job of lining up his resistors there. So the R3 and R6 and R7, you see the yellow bands are all on the same side. Doesn't matter, but it does look prettier. And the same with R4 and R5, he matched those up. It's, you're going to build something, you might as well make it look nice. So I'm going to dump your screen, Mark.
I can get out. If you're done watching, I can get out right there.
I'm out. Okay, we're out, and I'll go over to mine. And so this right now is the W7BPD-11 RMS gateway, and it's out in my garage running. And we have the Watchdog sitting right here. We have 3 LEDs and 3 buttons, and none of them are necessary. They're all basically optional, but they're kind of convenient. So the relay will just sit there and normally pass the power through. And the way this is happening is I've got, instead of taking this barrel plug right here and plugging it into our Nexus board where we have the buck converter, instead of plugging it in there, we're plugging it into the Watchdog timer. And then I took another, I just raided a wall wart and cut the end off about 6 inches long and marked the positive side so that I would not confuse them. And using the screw terminal up there, we're taking the power out of the Watchdog and bringing it down and plugging it into the Nexus board. And then I have this JST connector that we've soldered onto our Nexus board. And this is simple math, simple counting. You take the yellow lead and just count over 9 pins from the right, and that is the same pin that is powering the green LED. And Steve has modified the script now so that LED will blink for a millisecond every, what is it, maybe 2 seconds, Steve? And then these 2 leads here that go to the JST connector, they were the same length, but we shortened them because we had through holes for future purposes. And here comes the future purpose of attaching ground and 5 volts to send them back. So that goes on goes up onto the to the Watchdog, and I've added a blue LED over here just because we're covering everything up down there. But this LED is not connected to anything on this board. It is simply verifying for us that the Nexus board has power. It basically it will always be in unison with the green LED over here. The green LED says, hey, it's on. And when the Watchdog timer says something's wrong and it wants to pull the plug, both of these LEDs will go out and the red one will come on. And and then these 3 buttons, they're also optional, but this one right here allows you to manually activate the relay. So you can manually pull the power off of your Nexus, the whole stack. You just manually take the power away, wait a few seconds, and put it back on again if you want to. The one in the middle is a way to simulate the trigger. The Watchdog uses a heartbeat, but it doesn't do anything until it sees the first heartbeat. And so if you want to, jumpstart it, you can push that button. And the third button is probably even less useful, but it actually resets all of the gates and whatnot that are in the IC, our timer chip. It'll reset everything there for us. And it's probably not something you'll ever need, but it'll abort a timing sequence that's going if you push it. So they're there so that when you deploy this thing, you can visually see that everything's doing what it's supposed to do before you walk away and leave the mountain. So that's kind of what we're doing there.
Question, Bud?
Yeah.
Okay, so if we go to this, your new watch board, on the Nexus now we have that one button that we can hit with a pencil?
Yep.
To reset, is there going to have access to that?
Yes.
Or is it?
It's right on the edge of the board, and it will function the same as it always has. The caveat to that is that if you hold it down so that the green LED comes on and you wait and the green LED goes out because you want to power everything down, the Watchdog is going to go, hey, what happened here? And in 30-40 seconds or so, it's going to turn everything back on. So you'll want to be aware of that. If you're trying to shut it down, you'll want to do that extra step of removing the power.
Okay.
Because you can shut it down, it'll go back on. And
all right. You'll have to give me instructions on that when we get it.
Yeah, but so you and I had a conversation at Breakfast Friday about the FLDG station, the digital station at the Ferndale police station, and how you would want to be able to once every 24 hours, say at 2 o'clock in the morning, power everything down and then power it back up again. And we sat there and we talked and thought, well, we could do that. And since I spoke to you then, I took it even one step further. And that is that you guys could write a cron script. Steve could help you with it. Galen could do it. I'm not so sure. I mean, that would be the quick way of doing it because it would take me 3 hours to figure out how to do what those guys could do in 5 minutes. And but what you would have it do is say every day at 2 o'clock, do an actual Raspberry Pi shutdown. Just shut her down and let the Raspberry Pi close everything down, and then just wait. Because the Watchdog timer is going to say, whoa, the heartbeat went away, I'm turning it back on. And it's going to come right back up again.
Well, so everybody else could know, we're having a problem at the Ferndale ACS and it was working fine last time I went out there, but in the past, it's almost like 1 week of on 24 hours, the waterfall just slows down to a chunk. and almost dies. It just slows down, almost not even moving. And so we've got to reboot the system. And so that's why, I had a question if would a slowdown of the processor not hear the heartbeat that you guys are talking about putting in for the check or not? Or would we be just better off to, since we can't seem to find this without replacing the whole thing, and I think we should just replace the whole thing anyway, but just reset it once every day in 2 o'clock in the morning and it runs fine.
I had a conversation with Galen a couple days ago. We were discussing that. And he has a hunch that the slowdown that you guys were experiencing might have been caused because you had the squelch set too low in the monitor. And that the Raspberry Pi is logging all of that gibberish text that we see in the monitor when it's not really a signal there.
Could be.
And so it may have been getting constipated. And so so you might figure out that, and that would be easy to test, but if you've raised the squelch level a little bit, does the bogging down stop?
I'll have to find out.
Yeah.
I've raised it up a bunch of times. Every once in a while I come back in and it's down. So I don't know if somebody's changing it going down because it's up a little higher, but we'll find out.
Well,
the other thing to do, Dave, is if you're not interested in the logging that FLDigi produces in it, depending on how you have it set, it produces a lot of logging. You can shut all that off.
And I think Galen has all those off.
Okay.
We talked about it before, right. And he thinks, I believe that was one of the things that he already has done.
Okay.
And so it was kind of like, okay, well, what else can it be?
When you noticed that the waterfall was really slow, did other applications on the Pi work okay? Were you able to?
No, everything would just.
Oh, everything was slow.
The whole thing would. FLDigi would you just see the waterfall, and then and then it'd go down another chunk, and any other program you open to do anything, word processing or whatever else, would be just as slow to load it up.
Got it. Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah, and in fact, if you went to send a message, you'd hit a key, and it may take 3, 4, 5 seconds for that character to show up on the screen. Each character, you could type a word, a 5-character word, and it would very slowly start putting them on the screen. First character, several seconds later, the second one, several seconds later, the third one, etc.
And the only thing you are running is FLDigi at the time?
Well, I don't know what Galen's got running in the background.
Oh.
We're running FLDigi, but he always had, the herd list and something else and a word processing and then a watch list to do something else. And I think he's got most of those shut off finally. Okay. So the only thing we've got now is just FLDigi. We don't even have the smart herd list running all the time. He used to have FSQ, the MFFSJ message, whatever it is we send.
FL message.
Yeah, FL message. Yeah. Used to send those, have that running in the in the background, have that one screen up so you could write your message. Okay. And I shut it down every time I get there, and so we just have the one, and it's been too bad, but I think we've got everything shut off finally. So the last couple times I've gone there, it's been fine, but we'll see. I don't know how many times Galen's been back there every couple days and reset it, so I don't know.
Okay.
So it's just still another work in progress.
Well, for whatever reason, if you consider that it's healthy for your remote station to, periodically do a complete total power down, because that takes care of the sound card, it takes care of everything. I think that's a solution. Should be easy to write that, right, Steve? To have it do a proper shutdown and then wait for the Watchdog to bring it back up again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
very, very easy to do.
2 o'clock in the morning, just let it do it.
Well, I was just worried that the this slowdown that we're having, we may just be a fluke of we're the only one who ever does it. But I wanted Bud to know so that, is this something that the Watchdog would pick up on or not?
That's kind of a crapshoot.
That's
Because
why I went with just shut it down once a night.
yeah, we don't know. The board that Bud built is dependent entirely on the failure of a script that's running on the Raspberry Pi. So if whatever else is going on the Raspberry Pi also affects that script, then yes, the hardware watchdog that Bud has built will restart it. But if it's not affected, no,
Yeah,
won't make any difference at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've seen the same thing on my Raspberry Pi Nexus happen every once in a great while. It'll just start slowing down, and I'm hardwired into my network here. So it seems like it's like some kind of a weird network lag because the software is actually still processing some of the FSQ signals coming in. But yeah, the waterfall, it looks like it just like freezes or just slows down to such a slow crawl. And then all of a sudden the screen will pick up and it'll decode things that was, transmitted, like 30 seconds prior or whatever. And then other times it just locks up. And, seems to not do anything. So I have to literally pull the power off of it. And then, which I hate doing because you never know what that's going to do to the card in there. So, but I have seen that before. I have seen the same exact behavior, but it's been a while.
Go ahead, Andy.
You guys are all making me feel tremendously lucky that I've got 4 mountaintop machines that I never touch, that I never look at. I feel so lucky right now. Thank you.
Don't ever let me touch
Andy,
it.
Andy, that's probably why they
anymore.
keep running. That's exactly why they keep running.
Yeah,
because if it did die, I'm not going up there right now.
Yeah.
It ain't happening. It's gonna be dead.
And we do have the W7 ECG station that's running Bullseye in the SAR building that runs fine too, with the exception of the unfortunate kernel bug that one exhibits. But we've got a workaround for that, and it seems to be operational, working fine too.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen that. I don't think I've seen that issue since I've upgraded to Bullseye. So now that you mention that.
Oh, your slowdown issue you have not seen since you upgraded?
Not since I upgraded. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That I remember. Yeah, because it's been a while.
Yeah, I have seen that slow down with my keyboard in the past too, but not in a long time now. But exact same thing you guys were talking about. I'm typing and it's not keeping up with my typing, and then it dribbles it out later. But I haven't seen that now in months.
Oh, and I want to tell you that I VNC into it. I don't have direct monitor keyboard attached to it. So,
right. Okay.
Andy, is the gateway at BTech under your watch, or is that somebody else's?
I think there's Steve is great with that stuff. I don't know how much he gets in there, but he absolutely has access to it. And then I will dive in and try to check stuff out and do what I can with my
I'm not sure what the problem is, but what it's doing when I do WinLink for the ham word going through there, it's been slowing down and not making the connection to the internet. This last time I sat there for between 5 and 7 minutes, and it kept talking back and forth to my radio, and then it just dropped me because it's like, oh, you timed out. It never connected to the internet from me.
Yeah, I don't. So it doesn't need the internet, really. I mean, that's the RF side of it. It could be some type of RF interference, right?
But
so if it does,
for Mark, for what Mark is doing, it does need the internet.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, I'm sending a WinLink message through the gateway.
Yeah, so if he's able
it's
to communicate
failing.
with the gateway, but his message, if the BTEC station can't contact the CMS server at WinLink over the internet, then he would exhibit the problem that he was having there. So
Yeah, I haven't here while we're sitting here. Let me try to log into it, see how it's doing.
yeah, I was just going to try to.
I don't know if it
send a
needs a
message to
reboot.
it.
I don't know, but it's slowed down. It was having slower problems over time. And then the last 2 weeks, it's like, it's not connecting. I'm going over to Telnet. I'm just going to get it done.
Okay.
But since I have mines here, I'm sharing the information.
Yeah, of all the machines, that's the one that I've always heard has been the strongest. So if there's a problem, then it's good to know, and we can take a peek at it.
Maybe it needs a watchdog timer or a cron script.
Oh, for heaven's sakes. Shoot. It's been a long time since I've done this. There it is. How do you check the internet speed, Steve?
There is a script you can run, but I was just going to try to send a message to it.
Okay, here, I'll
But
go ahead
if I
and
could-
share
If
So for those of you who haven't seen it before, here's Bellingham Tech in all its glory.
Now, if that doesn't get reset, you could roll it back to Sunday night and maybe at about 4:05 to 4:07, right around 4:10 in the afternoon.
Yeah,
It was
this
giving me all that problems.
this is one of the machines that, well, I should take that back. Most of them right now are using public internet, but yeah, this one's piped through. The college.
oh, that's right. My my Raspberry Pi is in disarray right now, so I'm not able to use it, unfortunately.
No, that's fine. So what we can do is we'll take a peek at it.
Yeah, I'll have a look.
I would promote that, others try to use it if you're doing some testing and doing some RMS stuff, and then see if we can figure out if the trend is, consistent across the board, and then we can follow up and check it out. But like I said, this machine of all of them has been the one that always just works the best. So either way, stuff like that is valuable. So definitely, if anybody runs into anything like that, let myself know. And then I'll do the boots on the ground stuff where I can.
Hey, Andy, can you share that screen again?
Oh, sure.
Okay, so you see that bottom line there where in yellow? Yeah, so one red, one active.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
that script runs every, I think it's 30 minutes. And what you want to see is one red, one active. So that means that it is successfully talking to the CMS server at WinLink on the internet.
Perfect.
And it does say updated here, meaning that there was some state change recently. So it could have been down while you were trying to connect, Mark, but it looks like it's up right now.
Is there a date timestamp on that line?
Yeah.
December 20th.
That's the date.
1949. So that runs every 30 minutes.
And there was no update when you go up the page there just a little bit, about what, 3/4 of the way? There's your next update.
Yeah, so
And it did not update.
No
that one's
error.
showing 2149 updated.
There's a better way to do this, I'm sure.
It's interesting that it always says one updated. I mean, that's kind of strange that it lists an update every single time. Oops.
There's a 0.
Yeah, there's a 0. Okay, so one red, one active. What's the next one there?
So sometimes, not always, I'll go in and because I get this email every night at like midnight or whatever from it reports. It just fills my email box with spam, which I like. It's a good problem to have. And so it's my way when I wake up in the morning just to see if any of the machines have gone down. So every morning I see the 6 emails. And so if one of them doesn't report back, then I know there's some type of issue. And I don't always do it, but what I'll do is I'll open it up and check and see if it's got any use. But VTech's almost often got a little bit of use. But like Acme is the one that gets used very seldom. Typically, if I see somebody use Acme, what I'll do is I'll look them up and write them a note, and normally have a couple exchanges back and forth with them. Ask them what their experience was and how they liked it, it worked for them, so on and so forth, and kind of promote its use. But otherwise, the other ones have been pretty good. Somebody was using the heck out of it. Oh, this is that Canada station. That's what's going on there. KJ7 LLU. So that was one of the ones that I seen there. The other updated 0 hours. So anyhow, it's a lot more of the same. So that's what it looks like.
Okay. I was going to try to do, this is going to be like a live demo. We'll see if it'll even work. And I will see if I can get this to go. I'm going to get rid of me. And with any luck, you guys are going to see my oscilloscope. Is that there? And do I need to, I'll just put myself on a spotlight, so it should be easy for you to see. And I'm going to move a camera around here. What I've done is I've got the Watchdog timer is sitting here with scope probes attached to it. And then behind it is a Arduino. And this is all wired up. I've written a sketch for the Arduino. Basically, it's a real simple sketch. I went into the startup routine on the Arduino, and I'm going to tell it to send 3 heartbeats. And they're 1 or 2 seconds apart. And then that's all it does. It just sends 3. There is nothing in the loop. So the Arduino is going to just send 3 heartbeats, and then it's done. And they're going to go to the Watchdog, and you should be able to see it on the scope. We can talk about it as it goes by. So now let's see if it works. So the blue line that you see right there, can you tell that it's blue? Looks white on my screen. That's the heartbeat going, and it timed out, and the upper line is showing you the power down segment of the Watchdog. Power has just now come back on, which means that the Arduino is going to re-execute startup. And so the first heartbeat is this one that comes down. And then this is the second, and this is the third. There isn't a fourth, so it just keeps, the curve is, you're looking at the timing capacitor that's charging itself. And so now the power's back on, and it goes through that cycle. And this is in what we call the short cycle that we can run for test purposes. I'm going to go ahead and freeze this. I'll do a run stop, and I'll let it finish one more time, and then I'll stop it. One of the cool things that you can do with an oscilloscope is I can turn on cursors, and the cursors, the oscilloscope measures 2 things for us. It measures on the vertical axis, it measures voltage, and on the horizontal axis, it measures time. And I have these cursors set right now to to show us time. That's these two, the dotted lines you see there, and the cursor A is this one. I'm going to move it over to that edge right there, and I'll switch to cursor B, and I'll move it over to this edge right here. Now, I'm not sure if your resolution is going to show you what it says over here, but right in here, it's telling me that the time between these two cursors is 10.8 seconds, and that's what we're shooting for, and that's the length of time that the Watchdog is going to hold the power off on our deal. We can use the same cursors to measure the other interval in here. Let's go over like here, and this is the distance between the heartbeats, and that's being determined right now by the Arduino, and I have it set at the heartbeats are about 3.4, almost 3.5 seconds apart. That's what I'm doing there. The total time for that window is from here. This is our short timing resistor, and that's a 47K ohm resistor, and it's coming out at it's 12 seconds. And I'm not sure why. I have to think about that. I might not be putting it in the right spot. But anyway, that is just a quick demo of, what it's doing. Anybody else have anything for us? Did we miss anything?
Just got a very, go ahead, Steve.
Oh, I was just going to say, Bud, I was wondering, it probably is safe to permanently modify that shutdown Python script so it blinks and make that available to everybody. I just sent the modifications to you so you could modify your own shutdown script so it blinks. But I think
and I was playing
safe.
around. I changed the timing on that, and I thought I need to go back and put it the way you originally had it. But so Mark has done this. If he does just a regular Nexus utility update, or is the stuff on your updater available for people to turn the heartbeat on?
It is, but they have to do an extra step. So what I'm suggesting is that I just do an update to the regular shutdown Python script and just make that available to everybody so they don't have to do anything other than update the Nexus utilities.
Yeah.
And then the only thing new they'll notice, whether they're using your board or not, is that green LED is going to blink.
Yeah.
Okay. And I thought you and I had talked about this earlier, and I think I can probably bump that up to 5 seconds. It's currently set to 2, and 5 seconds should be more than adequate, I would think, huh?
Well, we have to think about the short side. So, or we'd have to change the value of the short side resistor. But if they want to test it, they want to do a test run before they leave the site, there's a slider switch. And so whatever we're doing with our timer should fit within that slider, our proof of life timer needs to get more than one heartbeat.
Right. Okay. So probably leave it at 2 then.
Yeah, there's no harm.
Sure.
All you're doing is discharging a capacitor, and we have to start charging it again. So it doesn't matter how many times it actually sends a heartbeat, as long as it keeps sending it.
Mm-hmm.
It's when it stops sending it that things need to happen. But if we want to, if we want to give them the option to test it without having to wait 30 or 40 seconds or 100 so many seconds to see that it did actually do what it's supposed to do. That's why I put the switch on the board and the option to put it in a quick mode.
Okay. Okay. All right,
Hey,
so I will make that available. I'll send a note out to the digital group tomorrow when that's available. And
Okay.
then, Mark, when you see that note, just update. I'll tell you what to do. You just update Nexus Utils. And then it'll automatically restart the shutdown Python script in the background. And all of a sudden, you'll see the green LED that's normally dark blink every 2 seconds. And then you'll be able to run that, put that wire into pin 9 on the GPIO header, as Bud mentioned, and you should be good to go.
Yeah, I'll be working on directions with pictures, probably even a video. So I'm not really ready to start sending these things out to the whole, just John Q public. I have enough parts that we could do half a dozen of them or so for people, within our own group that want to take a stab at it and provide us with some feedback and whatnot. The pricing on it, I've got over like $325 into the project already, but the pricing on it is going to be, I think, around $32. But for members of our group, I think we could talk about $20 for the parts and whatnot, and just get a few of them out there. Not everybody needs this. This is for a station that is running 24/7 that you want to make sure stays running whether you're there or not. Most people won't need it at all. But if it's, you want it, it doesn't make any sense to put it in a Go kit, because unless you intend your Go kit to be parked somewhere unattended, it's,
Hey, Bud.
yeah.
Got a couple questions for you on the components, those push button switches.
Yeah.
Are those normally open, normally closed, or are there 4 leads on there so you can kind of wire it how you need? I didn't, from the picture I saw, I'm assuming there might be 4 connectors coming off the switch.
No, it's kind of a unique design that they've done. It's normally open, and it's momentarily closed whenever you hold the button down, and it's not square. The two of the two sides are further apart than the other two, and so it's definitely a rectangular thing. And so on the long side, the pins, the leads are tied together. They're continuous, but there's 2 separate pair, and they're each continuous. So if you were to plug this into the center of a little one, one of those breadboards with all the holes in them for building up stuff, it's designed, it'll fit there perfectly across. It straddles the center, and then at the same time, it is ganging all of the PID connections on opposite sides of the board, because it's a short straight through, so it's ganging them all together. When you push the button down, it's the parallel sides that are ganged together that come together. So literally all 4 of them are connected together when you push the button down.
Okay, gotcha. And one other thing is
the reason there's 4 is it's structural. You got to have something to hold it in place. And
no, I get that part. Yeah. I was just kind of thinking, if I do get one of these, I probably want to make the switches or mount the switches not on the board, but kind of extend it out to whatever the box that I'm going to build for this or print for this.
Sure. Absolutely,
And,
you can do that.
And the same with the LEDs. Is there any way to programmatically shut the LEDs off after a certain period of time? I mean, just I know that kind of
Well, if
defeats the
you would
purpose of
do that
having
on
them,
another
but
board, you would have another board. So you were just basically, I mean, you could get the same chip I'm using and use it as a timer and have it put the LED on for 10 seconds and then let it fade out. I mean, that's something you can do. Just resistors and capacitors. That's a simple.
no, I know. I was just wondering if maybe there's a software option for that. Just if there's no activity or whatever, it'll tell you, show you everything it needs to do when it boots up, but once it's running, or unless any of the indicators or any of the monitors change, then they'll of course come back on and tell you what's going on. But otherwise, like,
Yeah, you just hit
quiet,
the nail
quiet.
on the head. You just solved the problem. To do what you want to do, just instead of hooking those LEDs up, or even the switches for that matter, run them over to something like an Arduino, and then
Okay, yeah.
write the code in the Arduino to do what you want it to do, and use those as GPIO inputs.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, I've got plenty of these little micro whatever processing Arduino. I forgot what the Pico something. I don't know. I've got a whole box of these things somewhere
Yeah,
that I
you
haven't
can-
actually put to use, but that would be kind of cool. Because I've got so many things that have LEDs, and most of this stuff is sitting right next to where I kind of sleep. So I could throw a blanket over it, but that's, fire hazard. And or throw it in a box, whatever. But
So those LEDs share a current limiting resistor that goes to ground. And so if you took the plus side of the LED, what you need to know is it's the VCC voltage though. If you're running 12 volts through this thing, that's 12 volts coming at you. So you probably want maybe put a transistor in there. So do something.
I'll figure that out. That's
Yeah.
not a big deal. I just was kind of curious about that because I do have access to a 3D printer now, so I want to build some custom boxes for some of my stuff here. That I'm getting a lot of dust in this Nexus here, so
as Mark said, there's a bunch of test points on the board, and you could grab what you want off of one of those test points, and that would be, well, no, the chip's running on 12 volts also. Yeah, that was the advantage of this thing. This chip runs on anywhere from 5 to 15 volts, but I tested it out here. I was a little disappointed that the relay, I'm using a 12 volt relay, and the relay will not activate with 5 volts. It will with 6. It does just a fine job with 9, and of course it works with 12. But when I put it on 5 volts, it doesn't trip the relay. But I have
I've got a bunch of transistors here that I forgot what the voltage is on them, but I think they're like 2222s and 3904s or 3906.
That's what I use, is the 2222s.
Okay.
And so just stick a big old resistor between that and the base.
Yeah.
To limit the current going to your base, and then the other, you can switch whatever you want.
Okay, cool. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, great idea. Anybody got anything else for us?
Yeah, it's a little off base from the digital group, but our good friend, Mr. Bob Wan with Let's Get Ready is the much anticipated, for anybody who cares, it's still in that world. They came out with the Bluetooth hands-free mic. So it's out there. It's been Bridgecom's heavily publicizing it. It's starting to pop up all over the place. Originally, it was supposed to be out back in October. That's when I got the original pre-order. And that's when I ordered it. And in true fashion, Bob's doing it for a phenomenal deal. So I want to say don't quote me on these as rough numbers. It's like 100 rough $50 or something. I think I got this one for 100. That's he said not an advertised price. So, but he said we can extend it to people in our circle. So if for some reason you still play with DMR or like the Anytone, they have the wireless mic. For me, it's a game changer. It's going to be nice because my radio's in my pickup. And so when we get on scene for an operation, base camp, whatever it is, I drop this in my pocket, and I have the full capability in my pickup, 50 watts on the base antenna, with something that's smaller than a handy talkie, and I can walk around all of our operations. When I get back into the pickup, I just drop back this in the back in the cradle, and I go right back to my mobile. So,
and
it's a
that
full
works
deal.
That works for the 578.
Yeah, so it's the mobile. Yep, it pairs
Yeah.
up with the 578, and so I just paired it with my Gen 1, but I know it is set up to pair with the Gen 2, so it'll do both. So,
And how far of a range do you think you might get with that Bluetooth?
I have not had an opportunity to test it yet. So it's like anything else, it's going to depend on the interference in the area.
Yeah.
So those are going to be things that I'm going to check out. So
I think they're advertising 30 feet for it, Bud, but I don't know if that's
typical for Bluetooth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in a Go Kit world, right? If you were at, I don't know, if you had Dave dropped his Go box off, and he was walking around and he was in between doing stuff, and he had that on a shirt collar. And he heard some distant station and he didn't want to try to, use a handy talkie. Boom, you got your 50 watts, right? So it's not for everybody, but it's an interesting tool. I'm going to see what it fits. So it's out there.
Great.
Yeah. That's all I had.
It's my mic. Yeah, one thing I wanted to bring up a little bit is security, software security for our Raspberry Pis. As far as I know, there's no firewalls installed. Unless I'm wrong, I didn't see one installed on my Bullseye when I upgraded. But if anybody's interested, well, maybe Steve would be the best one to ask about this. But I'm using UFW as a kind of a simple firewall, and I was wondering if that is adequate for just basic, because I want to put this on available to the internet, but I always am kind of scared about doing some of that with some of this. I don't want somebody going in and transmitting stuff under my, or with, getting into my my Nexus remotely and doing whatever the heck they could do. So I just wanted to put that out there that if you do something like that, you might want to install a firewall.
Yeah, and I believe UFW is the default for Bullseye, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't think it was installed on mine when I.
No, it isn't. It isn't by default,
okay.
because these Raspberry Pis are designed for educational environments. So you can imagine the support problems with people trying to build kits with kids and having to deal with esoteric firewall rules to get things to work. It'd be a nightmare. So
but it's pretty simple, straightforward. So just wanted to throw that out there.
Yep, it is.
For the record, all the remote nodes are open for use for locals and hackers. We welcome everybody.
Right.
The remote nodes, by the way, are all behind other firewalls.
This is true.
So the Raspberry Pi none of the Raspberry Pis that WECG uses, for example, are connected directly to the internet. They're all behind some form of other firewall.
Okay.
Yeah, I was thinking I was going to get a couple more users.
Right. But yeah, that's a good way to go, Rob. UFW is exactly the right way to set that up.
Okay.
Mhm.
All I got.
Well, maybe it's time to stack the chairs, I guess. Get out and shovel the snow tomorrow.
Already did that.
Yeah.
Or tonight. Yay. Not looking forward to that.
You're welcome to come over to my house to do the rest of it.
So
Yeah,
I
lucky I'm going to do it here.
I kind of screwed up because I came up with this idea. I don't know why it took me so long to figure this out. My wife's car is in under a carport, and we've had issues where the snow piles up out in front of the carport. Snowplow piles stuff out in front of the carport, and trying to get her from the carport to the road, I've had to do a bunch of shoveling. And it dawned on me once last year or whatever, that if I parked my truck behind her car, just outside of the carport, that instead of shoveling all that snow, I can drive it away. And so yesterday I'm looking at this and I'm going, gee, do I need to go put my truck out there? And I'm going, we're only supposed to get 3 or 4 inches of snow. I don't think I'll bother. And now there's 18 inches of snow behind her car. And on top of my truck, which isn't behind her car.
Where do you take the snow when you do park your truck behind her car? You take it over to the neighbors and dump it?
No, I have a parking spot that's not under the carport. I just,
Right. Okay.
I thought it was kind of clever idea. It's just, that's a lot of pavement. It doesn't have to be shoveled if you just drive the truck away.
Right. Right.
But anyway. But we are stocked up with food. She made all kinds of soup today, and we're not going anywhere. Should we stop the recording and pull the plug? You guys ready to call it quits?
Sure.
Yep.
Why not?
Yeah.
So I don't have to go.
Okay, I'm going to say 73 folks and catch you next time.
Have a good evening.
Okay. Bye.
Happy holidays.
Yeah.
Are we do it? Okay, yeah, we don't have another one until next week or next year.
Yeah.
See y'all next year.
I think we have a board meeting then, you know. All right, adios. There we go.
Bye.
Bye.